Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, passion for excellence.
Here are today's top headlines. Automakers face a steel shortage in the American market. VW threatens to drop Magna as a supplier, and Bentley unveils its new flagship. Up next, we'll be back with the news behind the headlines. This is Autoline Daily for Monday, August 17, 2009, and now the news. Autoline Daily has learned that the American auto industry faces a steel shortage that could hurt automakers just as they plan to boost production. When automakers began cutting production late last year, steel demand plummeted and many steel mills slowly closed down. And now there's a shortage. It can take an integrated steel mill several months just to fire up its furnaces. One buyer tells us there just isn't any steel out there. I'm sure we're going to hear more about the story in the weeks to come. Reuters reports that Toyota will close down the NUMMI plant in California next March. Citing reports in the Japanese newspaper Asahi Shimbun, Toyota will move production of the Tacoma pickup to its Tundra plant in San Antonio, Texas, which has been crippled by the sales collapse of full-size pickups. Toyota will move production of the Corolla to its plant in Ontario, Canada. You know, the media in Japan's different from over here. If the Asahi Shimbun suggests Toyota's going to do something, it's not rumor or speculation. You can take it to the bank. More drama over the sale of Opel in Germany. According to Reuters, Volkswagen threatened to stop doing business with Magna, one of its part suppliers, if the Canadian company becomes a part owner of Opel. Suppliers always get to see the future plans of automakers, and VW is afraid Magna might slip its future plans to Opel. This did not sit well with the head of Opel's union, which called the threat blackmail. A report in Sweden says that Volvo's engineers have made a bid to purchase the company from Ford. According to the AFP, the engineers want to prevent Volvo from being sold to Chinese automaker Geely, which has been rumored as the primary buyer. The $2 billion bid is backed up by the head of Volvo, Leif Johansson, and Volvo Cars employees have also been asked to join the consortium with a stake equivalent to 2 months of pay. More news about automotive bankruptcy, but this time from Russia. Wards reports that car maker IZHAVTO has filed for bankruptcy because it can't repay its debts. The company builds some older Kia models as well as the Lada 2104, a rear-drive station wagon that looks like it's right out of the Brezhnev era. In other Russian news, Chinese automaker Chery is accusing RUSSLEGAVTO of illegally building its Tiggo sport utility vehicles. They are supposed to be building them, but Chery's accusing them of selling extra ones on the side. Yesterday, Bentley revealed its brand new flagship, the Mulsanne, at the Pebble Beach Concours in Monterey, California. The new model is set to replace the Arnage, which is a pretty cool car, but can trace its roots back to the 1950s. Right now, we don't know a whole lot about the Mulsanne other than it's all new and should go on sale around the middle of next year. We're going to have to wait for more details, which the company should release at the Frankfurt Motor Show next month. Coming up next, some more predictions from Jim Hall on what will be the classic cars of the future. We'll be back in a moment.
Changing tires out here could be dangerous, but with these tires, I don't need to worry.
Bridgestone.
Last week, Jim Hall gave his thoughts as to what cars we'd be seeing 30 years from now at the Pebble Beach Concours. Today, his thoughts are on what we'll see at the 2039 Woodward Dream Cruise.
While the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance is about style, exclusivity, and, in theory at least, elegance, the Woodward Dream Cruise is all about sheet metal and noise. And movement. As in the show comes to you when the street machines and pony cars and hot rods and compacts and muscle cars and rat rods and sports cars and even everyday sedans and wagons motor by. When you see the Dream Cruise, it's all about the sight and sounds of many automotive eras. So what will illustrate the best of this current era of transition at the Woodward Dream Cruise 3 decades from now? If it's a Dream Cruise, there has to be a Mustang. And 30 years from now, what better Mustangs to wander up and down Woodward Avenue than a 2009 Ford Shelby GT 500 KR or 2009 Bullitt Mustang? These two are enhanced performance, low-volume variants of the Shelby GT 500 and Mustang GT, respectively. The GT 500 mated a Ford GT engine with a Shelby Mustang, producing a car that could nearly match the GT 0-60 time, if not the mid-engine car's top speed. Named for the 1968 Shelby Mustang GT 500 KR, production of the newest units was limited to 1,571 units. Another thing the new GT 500 KR has in common with its predecessor. The Bullitt Mustang, while neither as exclusive or as rapid as the KR, pulls at the heartstrings of anybody who's torn around the hills of San Francisco in a Hertz rental, imagining his or herself to be Steve McQueen as Frank Bullitt. Essentially a D-trim Mustang with 15 extra horsepower, lowered chassis, better brakes, and an exhaust that rumbles like the 1908 Frisco Quake, a Bullitt Mustang, be it a 2008 or 2009 model, is the perfect ticket for the 2039 Woodward Avenue Bash. Cadillac's own hot rod, the CTS-V, is also a must-have car for the Dream Cruise of 2039. There is something so compelling about a four-door sedan that could well pass for old Uncle Jack's company car, being powered by a supercharged 6.2-liter engine cranking out 556 horsepower. Also, the CTS's ability to putter around in traffic without the slightest antisocial outburst would be a dream for those Dream Cruise moments when Woodward Avenue turns into a 16-mile-long parking lot. The car's Jekyll and Hyde demeanor is a large part of its appeal, and the madness of slipping a somewhat detuned Corvette ZR1 engine under the hood of Cadillac's volume four-door shows the ability of GM to do great product even in the most troubling of times. But there are few Dream Cruise appropriate vehicles more schizophrenic than Jeep's own Grand Cherokee SRT8. On the face of it, a Grand Cherokee SUV is no place for a 420 horsepower Hemi engine, or Brembo brakes, or a Mercedes-sourced 5-speed automatic transmission. I mean, it's a Jeep, but oh how it goes. Of all Chrysler's SRT machines, the Grand Cherokee is said to be the second fastest accelerating vehicle, bettered only by the 600 horsepower 8.4-liter V10 Viper SRT. And it's a Jeep. An in-your-face Jeep, but a Jeep nonetheless. Plus, it makes some great noise when you push on the loud pedal. And our final car is one that makes almost no noise when you give it the gas, or more precisely, the potentiometer. It has to be a great ride of significance when the Dream Cruise rolls around in 2039 and it doesn't use much gasoline. The Chevrolet Volt. Yes, I said Chevy Volt. Regardless of whether the uncertainties of the future make GM's Voltec range-extended electric vehicle train hybrid the next big thing that transforms the auto industry, or a technologically fascinating diversion that never fulfills its promise, the car will be of enduring importance. If the naysayers are correct and the Volt doesn't pan out to be the engine of change, come the 39 Dream Cruise, we could well think of it as an early 21st century take on, say, a 1964 Chrysler Turbine car. A sheet metal embodiment of a historic future full of wonder and promise. Wonders never realized and promises never really kept. Kind of like a dream. But if the Volt does make a lasting change in the automotive world, as many believe, its place in the Dream Cruise is the same as that of the 1886 Benz patent Motorwagen, 1901 Curved Dash Olds, or a 1908 to 1927 Ford Model T. The first of its kind, and the first of a changed world.
Big concepts for a couple of car events that started, in the case of Pebble Beach, as a support event for a local road race around the Del Monte Forest. And with the Woodward Dream Cruise, it started as a fundraiser for a soccer field in Ferndale, Michigan. And that's it for today's top news in the global automotive industry. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.